Mired in traffic, so she will be walking in shortly. I just want to let everyone to know that today is National Food Day. And I think that's great because our wellness committee is looking at lunches and breakfasts. So good, National Food Day. So we are called to order, and I'd like to ask Juliana Kim to please come to the podium and lead us in the flag salute.
Please stand and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So it's very exciting to have our Toyokawa delegation here today. Welcome to everyone, parents and students and all. I'd like to ask Sharon Fong to do the honors here.
Good evening, Superintendent Baker, President Vogel, and board members and executive cabinet. Thank you for having us this evening. My name is Sharon Fong, and I am the first vice president of the Cupertino Toyokawa Sister City organization. On behalf of the organization and the 2019 student delegation, thank you for all of your support of this program. By my calculation, it's been 35 years. Special thanks goes to Mrs. Leslie Maines and Ms. Sandy Madeline for helping schedule all the activities of the delegation, to the schools, the kid stop visit, and the luncheon and the school bus. This past year, we sent 13 students and 2 chaperones to Toyokawa, Japan at the end of June, where they stayed with host families for 6 nights, then toured Kyoto and Osaka before returning home. Then a few weeks ago, our Toyokawa delegation visited Cupertino for 6 days and stayed with our Cupertino delegates. Special thanks to Mr. Steve Ham and Kennedy Middle School for hosting all of the Toyokawa delegates. I know that they had a wonderful time attending school for 2 days. The delegation especially enjoyed the ride on the school bus as students in Toyokawa either walk or bike to school. The chaperones definitely had a once-in-a-lifetime experience at the kid stop by dissecting owl pellets. The Toyokawa delegation did tour San Francisco before they returned home. Each of our delegates would like to share with you one experience that they will always remember again. Thank you again for your support of this wonderful program.
Good evening. My name is Margaret Brunner, and I'm the Spanish teacher at Miller Middle School. And I was, I can even say I feel blessed to have been a part of this delegation. And again, I was one of the chaperones. I want to share. There's so many things I would love to share, but I was told to kind of keep it short. But what I really, really enjoyed was meeting the host families and becoming a part of their family and feeling like a part of their family. And that connection, that bond of friendship, I believe will last a lifetime. And that's something that's very, very special. So if I ever would like to return to Japan, which I would, I feel like I have family there. And I believe it's the same for them. They know that there's always a place for them. And it was just a really, really nice thing to experience. And that bond that we'll have, I really, really cherish. Next up.
Hi, I represented Kennedy Middle School, and I'm currently a freshman at Monte Vista High School. Something that was the most memorable to me was when I got to host them on the weekend and we went to Great America for the whole day. I think it really strengthened our bond between us, and I made so many more friends, and I think that I can consider them as my lifelong friends.
Hello, my name is Ashley, and I currently attend Kennedy Middle School as an 8th grader. One memorable moment would be having the kids in Japan having to clean their own school instead of having like janitors clean our school.
Hi, my name is Sophie Jaquish. I'm an 8th grader at Miller Middle School. One thing that I found really interesting when we went to Japan was that how all the kids from kindergarten to high school walk to school by themselves without their parents.
Hello, my name is Maya Swaminathan, and I am currently an 8th grader at Miller Middle School. One thing I will never forget is the huge variety of food that they had in Japan and how, as a family, we all sat down to eat at breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Hi, my name is Erin. I was a 8th grader at Miller, and I am currently a freshman at Lynbrook. And something I will always remember is one of our host family's houses and like how big and like different like the inside was and the cultures, like how just how different it was.
Hi, my name is Paulina Chin Wong. Formerly, I was an 8th grader at Miller Middle School. Currently, I'm a freshman at Lynbrook High School. One thing I will for sure remember is the fact that they didn't actually have to bring home lunch with them to school. They actually were served hot lunch, and it was actually made fresh, and it was really good.
Hi, my name is Luke Wynn. I currently attend Cupertino Middle School, and one of my favorite moments while I was in Japan was being able to spend time with my host families and to be able to learn about their culture.
Hello, my name is Guha Sriram. I represented Cupertino Middle School. I'm currently a freshman at Archbishop Midi High School. One moment I'll always remember is when our host grandparents, they took us to their house and they showed us real samurai weapons that were actually used in war. I think this is really special because it's something we could never do here. I mean, in a museum you can't like hold it or feel it, so yeah.
Hi, my name's Anna, and I currently go to High Middle School. One thing I'll never forget from this experience was the time we went, when the time we celebrated the Star Festival, and we wore kimonos, which were very much more complex than I thought it would be.
Hi, my name is Anish Lakapragada. I'm currently an 8th grader at Miller Middle School. And one thing I truly will never forget about this whole experience was when we hosted them, we took them to the beach near like the Bay Area and such. And then it was really nice to see how they were actually like collecting the sand, and they actually took that, they didn't take it for granted, and they appreciated everything that we showed them. So that was truly eye-opening.
Hi, my name is Kevin Zhao. I'm an 8th grader at Cupertino Middle School. One thing I thought was really memorable about this entire experience was seeing how much authority the kids in Japanese schools had, and I just thought it was really interesting how that dynamic worked out.
Hi, my name is Vivian. I go to Hyde Middle School, and something I will never forget is when we spent time with the family and when we were like cooking and we made some sort of like pancakes that were hard. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Once again, on behalf of the Cupertino Toyokawa Sister City Organization and the 2019 delegation, we would like to present to Superintendent Baker and the members of the board a journal that includes the students' experience and photos. And again, thank you for all the support of the student delegation program, and we look forward to another successful year.
Thank you to all of you students and to you, Sharon, and to all of the members of the Sister City Committee. 35 years is a long time, and the district is very, very proud of you and of what we've done over the years. And you did a great job of representing Cupertino in Toyokawa, so thank you for that. Are we going to do a photo? All right.
Maybe we can pass that around.
Somewhere in the back. Okay. Tall guys in the back.
Just stand in the back.
Okay, I'm tall. Okay, that's okay. That's okay. I'm just going to peek you all in.
Our young man back there, you gotta come to the front. Anish. Phyllis, we can't see you very well either. Smile. Smile. Oops, sorry. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much. Sure. Oh, good. I think one of the guys I'm meeting with. Thanks. I needed that. I know. I sensed that. Wait a minute till the crowd clears a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, board agenda approval. Do we have a motion?
I did have a comment. So it looks like on this agenda, we're doing closed session before activities and agenda setting. Is that on purpose? Usually we do it at the end. The current agenda has open
does it?
closed session sort of in the middle.
Yeah, that shouldn't be that way. Thank you for
All right,
catching
so
that.
I'd like to move that we, I guess, move the closed session to the to after agenda setting.
So that would
After
be
agenda
items
setting.
8, 9, and 10 would go
And
after
11.
current.
Would go after 11 and 12.
No, would go after 12. Right?
After 12, yeah,
Isn't that right?
yes.
Right. So I guess
8, 9,
the
10,
motion
11.
then is to move items 7 and 8 to and 9, 7, 8, and 9, and 10 after 12. Yes. All right.
Oh, okay, oh, I'm so confused.
Hopefully you don't mean after 12 p.m.
I can second that.
Okay.
Okay, moved and seconded to amend the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Communication from employee organizations. Kai, are you going to talk to us tonight? Yeah. All right.
All right.
Thank you for letting me speak. I want to start off by thanking the instruction department for inviting me to be part of the middle school schedule planning committee, as it may be called or may not be called. But I appreciate that. As we go into this, sort of like many things, believe it or not, there are many rumors that have started about the purpose of the committee. And since I sometimes feel a bit like the Amazon River and that all the rumors flow through me, I just wanted to put it out there that there's a lot of confusion about what the purpose of the committee is. And since you've put out the survey to our people already about it, it might be good to get ahead of that and talk about what the why is as far as what we're trying to do. Whether you're trying to put together a one-size-fits-all schedule or how that's all going to work. So I look forward to meeting with the committee on Monday, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kai. We have one public comment. Just a reminder, under public comment, the board will not respond to any comments that are made. We are good listeners, however, so we will hear whatever you have to say, and you will have 3 minutes. At the end of your time, a bell will ring. So we have a comment from Derek Lee.
Can you hold the mic? Yes.
Hi, is it good? Yeah, I'm Derek Lee. I came from the Miller community, and my home school is John Muir. So I think recently Dr. Bakers came to our community and talk a lot about issues that we see in the district, and then one of them is talking about potentially closing a school, right? So I would urge the district and also the board members to take closing a school off the table. Because I think there are other solutions, right? Let's not just start putting that as an option to start with, because that will create like tensions in the community. And it's a big impact if you talk about closing a school, right? Because we love our school. We love our teachers, right? Let's not make a drastic move to into conclusions of that's what we need to do, right? So once we take that off the table, I think it will be easier for the community to work together with the districts, for common good goal. Yeah, that's all I want to say.
Thank you very much. Consent. Is there a motion for the consent items?
I can move 5-1 through 5-9 on consent.
Second, is there a second? To Satish. Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries 5-0. We're moving on to 6.1, information, the LCAP update. I just want to make a couple of comments before Allison, while she gets organized. This is the first time we're hearing this. It's a legal matter. She has to share it with us. The district has to share it with the board. We all know that the LCAP is in its developmental stages right now. So I think this is a presentation. It's not an opportunity for discussion. So what I'd like to do, if everyone approves, is have Allison do her presentation, ask any clarifying questions we have, knowing that the LCAP is going to change and evolve over time. And we're probably going to get several presentations on this, and we'll have future opportunities to discuss. So if you're okay with that, I think clarifying questions would work. Does that work for you?
Oh, yeah.
Does that work for you, Allison? Okay, good. Then you're on.
Okay, thank you. So I wanted to just start by giving a broad context of what this is all about. System of accountability in the state of California. I shared with you a much longer slide deck, but I'm just going through the quick slide decks to share highlights, but I can answer any questions about the longer deck if you have them. So essentially, as part of the LCAP process, the state is saying to us that we need to consider not only things like the CASP data and those student achievement pieces, but also have local indicators that help us measure our success, help influence goal setting along the way. And so they're showing us in this visual circle here that they want us to take a broad look at our district as we're going into the LCAP season and make sure that we are, thank you, considering not just those state academic measures, but looking more broadly. So that's really what the context of this is all about. And we're really already ahead of that. We've been talking about our local measures when we talked about district priorities and our goals for the year. So a lot of these things we've already been thinking about, and we know that we're going to tackle them in a broader, more relevant way for us as we work on our district priorities and measures this year. So every year we are required to address the local indicator prompts by November 1st, which is why I'm bringing them to you now. But we also know that there's nothing high stakes about this. It's just something for us to consider later on throughout the year as we're looking towards goal setting for the next LCAP season. And we also know that we will be bringing in our own tools as part of our district measures and priorities to broaden the scope of that thinking. So it's just one moment in time, and it's low stakes. It's just helping us meet the requirements of LCAP, and we know we'll go much deeper to do a more thorough job in the areas that are most relevant for us. So these are the areas that we need to address. And a lot of things we know are going really well in this area. Priority 1 is about basic services and conditions. So this is things like textbooks and facilities and teacher assignments. So we know through the Williams reports that we bring to you that things are going well. And also we know that we have some areas of need, such as the things that were raised in our facility reports that we're addressing through the modernization and work order requests, as well as our next phase of facility master planning. And in priority 2 is about implementation of academic standards. So this is the area where we surveyed the teachers last year, and it really helped us set priorities for our current work. So as a result of last year's survey, we're digging in with NGSS and getting our new history social science adoption going. We brought reading to you last year for elementary, so this helps us target what are our next areas of need and how will we support teachers. So we're making a lot of good progress in that area, and also listening to our teachers' hopes around having more collaboration time, and also giving choice in professional development and not making everything required for everyone. Priority 3 is about parent partnerships. And this is an area that came up strongly for us in our district priorities and measures this year, so we know we'll be digging deeper in this area. We know we have a lot of strength. This is one of our biggest strengths, is our partnerships with parents, participating, volunteering, being essential partners in all that we do. Priority 6 is about school climate, and we also know this is part of our district priorities and measures this year, is thinking about that social emotional learning. We have our checks measures that are already part of what we do. We know the SIPSs are targeting school climate, and this is a big area of focus across all schools for us now. Priority 7 is about access to a broad course of study. So we know we have a rich program here in our district, and things like the Toyokawa delegation and all kinds of wonderful activities for the kids. And we also know it's an area that we're looking at in our district priorities for this year in terms of equity across schools, and how to take a closer look at our middle school schedules to make sure the kids are having a similar experience. So again, all of these things, they've already been on our minds as part of our district measures and priorities. So what I need to do is enter the information that we collected in this very initial round into the California dashboard before November 1st, and then know that we're going to circle back on these ideas as we work on our LCAP, and also gather the other information through our own district priorities and measures, so that all of this together can influence our next steps and goal setting for next year. And as part of that, we will continue the things that are already on the table regarding master schedule, building the coalition that we talked about, surveying parents and students and staff, supporting site-based leadership around personalizing and the whole child, all of these things that we already laid out, and really strengthening our own local measures. We will be able to trade out these measures for our own local measures once we have them established. It's just that we're in that process right now, and this deadline's a little ahead of where we would want to be, but going forward, we can replace these required reflection tools with our own. So that'll be a good thing. Okay, so that's a very high-level summary. What questions do you have for me?
Okay, clarifying questions. Who has questions? Okay. This is a first.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you.
If I'll just ask that.
Oh, no, you can't have a question.
No, it's not a question. I will ask of you that because Allison and team will be coming back over the course of the year with many, many updates, here's where we are, where we're going. If anything between now and the first one or in between ever comes up that you want presentation on, please send that to us so we're sure to include those things in there. So even if some questions were raised through this that you would like addressed, let us know and we'll make sure that it gets into a presentation and discussion in the future.
Perfect.
Okay, I can ask a question.
Oh.
To you, maybe.
Whoops.
Sorry, Allison.
Not to you, to
Oh.
Dr. Baker.
Then I'm really sorry, Allison.
So this dashboard, right? So what's the process here? Like once we update, what is next? It's kind of, it has to some kind of an approval or anything there, or we just it's kind of a self-evaluation kind of stuff.
Yes, it's a self-evaluation, and it's visible. You can see it on the dashboard, what we entered last year, and then any public member can see it by logging in. It's on each section of the dashboard. There's a section for local indicators, and it's a narrative description that's added there. So it's just all a self-reflection at this point. There's really no checking or monitoring of it, other than the fact that you have to present it to the board and enter it and post it. So those are the requirements. Mm-hmm.
Anything else? Okay, thank you, Allison.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll see lots more of LCAP as time goes on. Okay, so I think I've got this straight now. We're skipping down now to number 11, right?
Yes.
Board and superintendent activity?
Yes.
Okay, so I just have one thing to ask you before we go around the table, and that is, we all got an invitation to the school board and superintendent roundtable on November 21st, and I wonder if anyone is going. You're going?
This is Mark Berman's.
This is Mark Berman's roundtable.
I'm going.
Two of you, Jerry and thinking about it?
Yeah, I was talking to you.
Yeah, right.
I was not sure that I think that invite.
Right, well, I don't think it's necessary for us to go necessarily. It sounds like we're going to be well represented, so if we want to go, fine. If not, that's fine too. I don't believe the superintendent is going. Right, so, okay, good. So I'll let you know what I decide. Why don't you all let us know what you decide? And you two are going. Okay, perfect. All right, let's start with Sylvia, activities.
Come back to me.
Come back to you, Satish.
Okay. We had this wellness committee. We had our first meeting for wellness committee. It went pretty well. Actually, Leslie did an excellent job actually on that. Coordinating. We had a good number of participation and a lot of things for us to discuss further. Now it's more than what we can kind of. So that was one good thing. Pretty much, I think that's it from my official front. Personal front, quite a lot of one-on-one meetings and things like that happening now.
Yeah, lots happening now.
Lots happening. Yeah, thank you.
Jerry.
Sure. Two items. So first of all, sort of an announcement. There's an Asian American Parents Association. They have a seminar tonight. It's actually from 7 to 9 at Quinlan. So if you feel like you want to go somewhere after this and go hang out there. The topic is called unconventional careers. So it's really there's a couple of panelists talking about how you can have a fulfilling career besides being an engineer, doctor, or lawyer. So you could do so I think they have Rick Sun, who's the undersheriff for the county. There's a principal from the Sunnyvale School District, and then there's Lawrence Chu. He's the owner and proprietor of Chef Chu's up in Los Altos. His son is the director of the Crazy Rich Asians movie, John Chu. So anyway, 7 o'clock at Quinlan if you want to go over there. The other thing also is I attended a couple of these town halls, I think earlier this week at a second one at Muir, first one in Regnard, and then last week at Muir and Meyerholtz. Good turnout. I got really, I think, positive reception, feedback for the way Dr. Baker ran the sessions. I think just being very open and getting to these different questions. Very well attended. I think it was around probably 160, 170 at Muir, a little less at Meyerholtz, and then at Regnard. I counted, let's see, there were 16 rows, 11 chairs, and then about 30 people standing, so about 200 folks. It's quite a bit. So in terms of what was shared, I ran into a bunch of people who actually didn't even have kids at the schools anymore. They're former parents that cared about what happened to the school. And so I think, and a number of folks spoke, I think, quite eloquently about the importance of these schools for the community, just having kids. And so I think that was something that I think came across really strongly, that when we run these schools, it's more than just education. It's part of, I think, what brings the community together. So it's something for us to remember. Lots of questions. I try to sort of categorize them just so to help me think about them. And for me, there are sort of three main categories. There's a set of around asking basic informational questions. There's questions around the projections and what's the methodology behind the projections, and a lot of just how much does it cost for this, how much for that. So a lot of, I would say, factual type questions, right? How did we get here, and various kinds of information. And then there's a set of questions around people trying to be helpful, saying, okay, we have a low enrollment, so how can we get more enrollment? And I sort of seemed like there were sort of three buckets. You get kids from private schools, you get kids from outside the district, or you get them from alternative programs. And because there's that trade-off when kids leave the neighborhood schools, go alternative programs, drives that down. So I think there were different questions and comments around that. And then the last, frankly, is, I think there were a set of questions around maybe if you were to close a school, and Dr. Baker made it clear, every 5 minutes, we're not here to close schools, but if we were, maybe the one down the street might be better for the one here. So there were sort of comment questions along those lines. So what I got out of it, I think certainly very much looking forward to the engagement. I know that each of the principals were capturing the questions that were being asked, and it would be good if we weren't going to do that already, to maybe just set up a web page to have all that, right? And then the other thing, I know Ragnar PTA, for instance, already sent out a little questionnaire to its community to sort of start asking things. And there may be going on at other schools, I just don't know about them. And it might behoove us to see if there's a way to engage the entire district in sort of a conversation about this, right? Rather than having it bifurcating into 25 individual ones, is there a way for us to all talk about this as a district? Because I think that's what we're trying to do, CUSD 25, is to build that identity. And so right now, there's a Yahoo group, but it's going away. And now there's 2 Google replacement groups that are getting set up. I can see things being bifurcating. So I think insofar as anything we can do to help facilitate discussions and idea exchange at a district level would be really great. So that's my report.
Thank you, Jerry. Sure. Lori. Oh.
That wasn't 10 seconds. I didn't say it was 10 seconds.
Jerry doesn't do anything in 10 seconds. We know that.
I used up your time, so.
So I attended several town halls as well, and have had several meetings before and after. And I think Jerry's summary is excellent for what I saw and heard. The only other category I'd add is maybe about the timeline. I was struck by some of the differences in some people who felt really sort of overwhelmed by even, starting into any sort of timeline, and then others who are like, can we just hurry it up and have an answer already, right? And so just the diversity of opinions is going to be really big in this, and just in these conversations, just really being mindful to the fact that I think not all of our communities are starting this conversation at the same point, and that as we now get this chance to listen all over the district, that just how diverse the pace at which people are going to be ready to have conversations already looks to be very different. So that's the only thing I'd add to your excellent summary. And then let's see, school visits continuing, and Sylvia and I got to go today to the kindness assembly that the third graders did at DeVargas, and I'm wearing my tie-dye for them. They had, their third grade class had all tie-dyed their t-shirts, kindness is my superpower, and they're just their message for their PBL and their social emotional program, I think, that they've got going there. They're the Lions, and so they're all about ROAR and their acronym for respect and for acting responsibly. So anyway, that's my last couple weeks.
All right. So I've also continued with school visits, and I'm trying to get out to all of the PTAs for my 5 schools. So I've got most of those scheduled, some of them not until the spring because it was interfering with a lot of other things, but through the course of the year, I'll get that done. And I've also been meeting with people regarding the declining enrollment problem that we have, and we'll continue to do that. I've had a lot of requests for meetings. I'm excited that we're going to have these 5 sessions coming up where we're going to actually give everyone in the district, not only the South End, but the whole district, an opportunity to weigh in on how we're going to, I'm not going to say solve the problem, but how we're going to, whatever we're going to do. Anyway, it'll be nice to hear from everyone. So that's mine. Craig.
So yeah, I really enjoyed the conversations. It is exhausting, I will tell you, to be standing up there answering, but it did feel really good. I felt like even though some people might have gotten a little heated here and there, in general, the community was just so respectful and civil and really caring and shared that and showed it. And I think we're on the right path. I'm glad that we're committed to at least a full year of community dialogue. It's clearly going to be very, very important for us to do that.
Agree. Okay, with that.
Sylvia?
Sylvia.
Oh, Sylvia, I have to circle back to Sylvia.
My
Go ahead.
I also attended the community meetings, and yeah, thank you for the summary. I think that was really good. The only thing I would add to that would be, as I've been speaking with a lot of community members as well, there's been varying reactions to the meetings. Some saying this is good, we want more of these, and some saying stop having these, have a working group, have a committee, have a smaller group. So it's interesting to again see the diversity of ideas and opinions. One thing that did come up is, and I think because our district has had a history with transparency, is that, and I'm sure all of us agree that we really want to be as transparent as possible. And I think we've gone a long way towards doing that, and I think the parents appreciate that, that there's been communication. I would say that some comments I've gotten is that we do need to have more constant communication, especially not just like the announcement of these meetings, but hey, we've had this meeting, here's what we might be able to do next, or here's a summary of what happened in that meeting, just so that everybody stays in the loop. So that was one feedback I did get, and I think that would be good because I think the more communication we can have, like you said, the better. So that's just to wrap that part up. The other thing is I attended the Facilities Master Planning Steering Committee. It's a very long name, with Jeff and with some of the folks in that committee. And so just looking at all of the different sites and what needs to be done. And so it's off to a good start.
Okay, thank you. All right, I didn't miss anybody else, did I? All right, so now we're going to number 8, number 12, which is agenda setting. Anything coming up?
I did have a question. So we talked about having these 5 board meetings at the 5 middle schools, and they're going to be listening sessions. So given that they're regular board meetings, I assume the speakers will have 3 minutes to speak. But
depending on the number, we may have to shorten that to 2.
Or 2, but
right.
some number. But right now, at the sessions we've done at the elementary schools, there's an opportunity for people to hear answers from Dr. Baker. So I was wondering, what's the thinking here? Are we doing this to collect input, or would there be an agenda item an item on the agenda for Dr. Baker to address some of the questions, or what's the current thinking? Are we there to just collect input, or would there be an opportunity for people to hear from you as they have at Regnard, Meyerholtz, and Muir?
Yeah, we haven't fully developed the plans.
Right.
Am I on, by the way? Is that good? Yeah. So I can't answer completely. I do think it's much more about listening at this point as a preparation for, as you go to discuss and deliberate for the very first time, which I want to remind people has not happened at all. And so it makes it hard if we keep answering questions right now before, because a lot of those really have to do with, well, let me tell you what the board discussed and where we're headed. So I think it's primarily that, but I think that we should leave room at least for some clarity on things that are clearly off base, just so we can set records straight. I think there should be some time. It doesn't have to be just me, right? I mean, that's the point, because you are there, you get to, now you get, it's an agendized thing, so you get to do that too, right? But I think that in general, our goal is to just be really good listeners and that we reflect that when you come together late January to deliberate, that you're reflecting on those, what they've been saying.
Right. So I very much agree with that. I think my ask then would be if there's a way for, we don't all have to speak, or Dr. Baker, for you too. Because sometimes I think some of the questions get asked with assumptions that are not correct. And then rather than people putting in all this energy into a thread where maybe the assumption isn't right, just an opportunity at your choice to be able to provide some of this information, I think would be helpful.
To correct any misinformation,
to correct it,
I agree.
but not to answer
Clarify,
questions per
right.
se, but just clarification. If we could have that would be nice, I think.
Yeah.
So
Great.
be an ask.
Yeah. So we'll work on a protocol. Like I might have a way for you then during the meeting to even send, like if you feel I should comment on something, maybe we'll have cards or something. We'll figure, we'll have a way of doing this. We just haven't really figured it all out.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, Lori.
And I've got one. So I know we talked about in the context of a budget update at some point, potentially having some sort of conversation about what the 2020 ballot initiative that's being titled Our Schools and Communities First might have on us, because I'm getting questions about that. But now CSBA has just announced they're also going to be putting their own measure on the 2020 ballot, and I've already gotten a couple people asking me, so what is that going to mean for CUSD? So I don't know if there's a way at some future budget update, if we can incorporate into a presentation a capture of what we know on what effect those might potentially have on our district, just to help educate our community about whether or not they're potentially will.
And are those even fully fleshed out yet?
The language is, but as to what effect they will have on us.
Right, okay,
no.
but the language is, because the Schools and Communities First, there was some.
They're now back with their round 2 of language and collecting signatures.
Okay, all right.
And we can, because the two of you as BAC members are going to meet with us anyway around budget-related things, so we can certainly address it there. But was there anything else you wanted to add, Jeff?
Okay. Great. Wherever you think is most appropriate would be fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, and I do want to say that there were people who brought up issues around legislation and how they can get involved at this last meeting, I think it was, and you were volunteered to get involved in that, just so you know. And we'll talk about that later.
Happy to help.
Okay, good. I knew you would be.
Letter writing, trips to Sacramento, I'm all for it.
Okay, anything else on agenda setting? Sylvia, you're looking puzzled. Do you have something? No? Satish, no? Okay.
I just attended MIG 3 and 4 actually this weekend. So I learned one thing about this public speaking time. Like, is there are we having a limit for a specific subject? Because what they said is kind of typically many school districts, they have a 30 minutes kind of thing. That's what CSBA recommended. So since we are going around in the school, so I thought from that context it really makes sense. Whatever it is, it could be 1 hour for us. But so that is you can have 100 people talking, but are you going to have a cutoff sometime? So
A cutoff for the speakers at the community meeting.
Yeah, that feels to me like something we need to discuss.
Yep.
That's not really, so yes, why don't we put a conversation, which usually we would do at our advance, would be to talk about that protocol and how we want to go about that. So if we could just make sure we put it on that agenda, let's talk about it there, if that's okay with you.
I'm fine with that.
But when is the advance? Is the advance
December.
December 14th?
I think the
For
question
these
is
5
before the
meetings.
first meeting, which is I
Right,
think
we want to
Lawson.
make that decision, yeah.
Okay, but we have a policy on it. I'm just saying I don't think we should be getting into a back and forth about what that policy, because that's not on the agenda right now. But we have a policy around that. We do have a way, our policy talks about how we handle that, what our rights are, how much time we give, et cetera. So I'm assuming, because we haven't changed them and we haven't agendized it, so unless we agendize something before our next meeting, we should follow our protocol.
Could you send us a refresher on that before the first listening session? And maybe we can, if anybody has any comments to send to you before the agenda setting for that meeting?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Good. Okay, thank you, Satish. Anything else? All right, then we are going to, let me make sure I'm in the right place here. We are going to adjourn to closed session, yes, but first we're going to hear public comment. Is there any public comment on any closed session items? No. All right, then we are adjourned to closed session.